Today's video, we're going to be having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends series. This is the Thanos Build-A-Figure wave, and today we're having a look at Marvel's Songbird. So let's get to the meat and potatoes of it all. Songbird stands at about 6¼ inches in height. First, we'll look at the arm that comes included with Songbird. No, it's not for her. No, it's actually for Thanos. We'll just go ahead and correct everything up. Bring that hinge forward and reach off to the side to bring in Thanos, who still is without arms, without a head. We'll go ahead and attach the arm like so. Getting a little further along, I have to admit. Still another arm, still another, I say another head, but still the head on the top. And then we can finish off our Thanos. She comes included also with her wings, which are a translucent plastic. Kind of doesn't have the most amount of personality to it. It's just basically a rigid piece of plastic. And there's also the hinge, or little tab at the top there, that connects into her back. In order to accomplish this, you have to get her hair over top of the wings, and then it just pegs into her torso like so, which does complete the look rather nicely. Unfortunately though, if you want to get her to fly, well, I kind of cheated at the beginning of this review. I used just like a NECA stand. I think actually this came with one of the alien figures, and I just kind of clipped it on the back like so. It's more just a balancing act than anything else. Kind of hoped that they would have put a secondary peg, a little secondary peg hole, somewhere on the wings where you could have actually put like a stand or something too. All of this sounds great on paper, mind you. If you don't have a stand to do that, then it defeats the purpose having the hole in the back. But I guess if you had like a long, even like a Diamond Select stand that could plug into the back like so, but as a result, you just kind of have to display her standing. I suppose there's always the go tried and true route of using fishing line. You know, you could just kind of attach it to her torso and just kind of have her suspended, say, from a ceiling. So I dig the wings, but I kind of wish that there was a peg hole or something on the back of it. I say that more for selfish reasons than anything else. I dig that at least it's a translucent plastic. I like that. So there's varying degrees of what you can see through it versus, well, what you can't. Kind of looks like a giant piece of candy. I'm going to put that to the side and we'll have a look at Songbird here. There's always like that one figure when it comes to Marvel Legends, that one figure in the wave where you look at it and you're like, okay, yeah, it's not a bad figure, but it doesn't really do a whole lot. Let me kind of add further to that before the hate fills down below. Songbird uses a standard female body. There's really not a lot going on for her, and the reason why I said that initially was because while there is all this nice deco on her leg, like the figure screams, we used the body, we didn't really mold anything else over top of it. Ultimately what we just went with was the paint route. Now, how could a guy that collects Marvel Universe figures, Marvel Legends figures, or even for that matter DC Universe figures, all are culprits of making use of similar bodies? 9 times out of 10, especially the Universe figures, DC Universe figures, all use the same body, most part, and then they just paint the details over top of it. So you're a bit of a hypocrite here. But this is the figure of the wave, where clearly they've just kind of, I guess Taskmaster is that to some regard as well, but he's got the boots and he's got the gloves. The only thing that's really different about her is the levitating belt. Of course, the gauntlets have been sculpted onto her hands, into her forearm area. And she's got the shoulder, this kind of shoulder armor that goes over top. But everything else to the figure is just paint. I can't say I feel robbed by it. I mean, what would I really expect from this? Maybe a little bit of texturing or something. After a while, you do get feeling that sense of exhaustion from picking up a figure that's using the same mold and it's just paint over top. Sometimes I would just love like a a little crease of fabric or something to the body that it looks like, you know, yeah, we did something extra to it other than just painting over top of it. The paint, don't get me wrong, is nice and clean. The white is, don't really have any problems there. The black stripes in the white, very nicely and cleanly applied. But there's nothing really overly wowing about the body. Songbird, really, what would I expect from a Songbird figure? Well, I guess this would be about the same, about right. I guess maybe what could initially sell me on this particular figure is if they had done something different to her face. Her face is pretty, yes, but when you have a neutral face like this and an otherwise neutral looking body, there's not a lot screaming for me here. Like, I would love a little bit of a smile and expression on her face could offset for the fact that her body is otherwise a pretty bland representation. The golds are nice. The gold on the belt is nice and matches that of the shoulder armor. One can't overlook the fact, though, that the gauntlets, the little armor pieces on her forearm, aren't the same shade, as clearly they're not cast in the same plastic. They just simply painted it over top. But going back to the face sculpt is pretty, yes, but a bit of an expression could have certainly gone a long way. Looks like something that you would almost see from a He-Man cartoon or a She-Ra cartoon. A little bit of expression could have gone a long way. I do like the bright red lipstick, and equally so the dark hair. Although here it looks good, the front strands. This little area here just looks like it was an afterthought and they splotched pink paint. I know they really did it here too, but here at least it looks like it's intended. Here it just looks like they added it after the fact. But the only thing I would say is the other critical nitpick to the figure is she does have flat, I'm levitating and or flying hands, but they don't take the time to give her relaxed hands as well. Sure, this look works good if you're having her in a flying pose. You know, you kind of have the arms levitating outward sort of thing. But if you just have the figure completely standing straight, let me just adjust the arms here, you can't help but notice she's got karate chopping hands. She has karate chopping hands. So a pair of alternate hands also could have been appreciated, I think, in this outing. Her posability is such, her head rotates all the way around. Yes, it will hit this and in the process spin her armor as well around. Softer rubber in the hair, but still doesn't help. It still will push this thing around as well. Arms hinge outward. You can also rotate them around. This will shift this in the process. Nothing in the bicep swivel. Most of the articulation actually relies in the forearm, which the arms rotate all the way around, and her hands rotate and hinge back and forth. Upper torso ball joint. Nothing in the lower waist. Legs split. Split on the top cut of the thigh. Double hinge on the knee. And hinge on the foot. I apologize in advance, by the way. I know when it comes to articulation, especially when you guys see multiple waves, like even like this specific wave, when I go through the articulation, it probably seems like, here we go again, the articulation. So I'm kind of just covering off all the bases. So for anybody that just tunes in specifically to this video, they know what posability is available. I don't want to just say, well, it's got standard articulation. I want to take the time and actually show you guys everything that's available here on Songbird. For finishing up of this video, we'll go ahead and attach her hair once again. Not her hair, her wings. We'll move her hair out of the way. And attach her wings. By the way, as you probably could expect, it does make the figure slightly back heavy. A display stand you could use for her feet, or you may have to also compensate by bringing her feet, or her legs for that matter, just a little bit more forward. Offset for the fact that her wings do slightly make the figure want to topple over. Other than that, not a bad looking figure. Okay, so I don't really get giddy for this figure. I don't get that bottom of your tummy kind of butterflies in your stomach giddiness that the schoolboy sees and every time he looks at the cheerleader walking down the hallway. I don't get that. Songbird, at the end of the day, makes use of a lot of similar elements and a lot of things that we've seen so often with Marvel Legends, using one body, painting over top whatever details that we want to it, and throwing out the figure. I'm kind of downplaying, I know, the figure as a whole, but the figure is okay. Sure, she's got some additional sculpts in her arms. She has some extra armor and a belt piece, and she's got her wings, which I might also add. The wings don't stay very well plugged into her back. A lot of times this back piece falls out completely on its own. In fact, I've jinxed it by saying that. I'm wondering if it's going to fall out over the course of final looks here. Also, can't overlook the fact that they didn't give her interchangeable hands, so as a result, unless you've got her in a flying pose, she always kind of looks like she's got karate chopping hands instead. Marvel's Songbird is unfortunately one of those instances where, because I just don't have much of a love for the character, or really a lack of knowledge for the character where I really have read up on a lot of her, I just think of this figure as slightly ho-hum. Slightly ho-hum and ultimately just sort of a filler, getting us to the final destination, which is a finished Thanos. This is a figure I probably wouldn't pick up on its own, but then ultimately have picked up just so that I can simply review all of them. And my biggest goal, of course, is to finish Thanos, which I'm super excited for. All of that can be chalked up to a figure that I think is just okay. Take my opinions with a grain of salt. Of course, you may love this figure. You may even love Songbird. Congratulations. You can get yourself a t-shirt that says, I love Songbird. But I think this figure is just okay. If I had taken the wings off completely and had the figure just on her own, my interest for the figure I think would be even less. So again, results and opinions may vary from person to person. I would say pick this figure up if maybe you are looking to pick up and complete a Thanos. If you are somebody that's probably just going to wait and pick up Thanos completed on eBay, of the list of figures to get from this particular wave, I don't know if I would necessarily say Songbird should be one of them. Iron Man should be one of them, absolutely. Iron Spider, sure, of course, but maybe not Songbird. Songbird can be just one of those songs you hear from time to time, but you really don't even add it on to your list of tracks. Like if you have a mixtape, Songbird is not one of those songs you would add to your mixtape. You'd probably hear her on the radio from time to time. You probably would just change the channel if her song came on. God, I'm sounding so harsh in this. But pick up this figure if you like Songbird. Otherwise, I think you could probably pass. Today we were though having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends series. This was the Build-A-Figure Thanos wave, and this was Marvel's Songbird, which I now feel bad being so critical about this figure. I guess that's my job. That's the responsibility that I have adopted and now weighs so heavy on my shoulders. If you guys haven't had a chance to hit that little subscribe button down below, make sure you do so. Of course, more videos will be coming your way. Support Marvel Legends on this channel. Go back and have a look at all the previously looked at Marvel Legends waves. Let me know what you guys think in those videos. Of course, let me know if you want to see more of this sort of stuff on this channel. Your opinions and your views help me decide whether, I want to keep doing specifically Marvel Legends reviews. So every little bit of comments and whatever you guys want to tell me down below, let me know if you want to see more of this sort of stuff. Like I said, we're going to be having a look still at the rest of the figures. I guess we're down to like 2 figures or so. Then we're going to have a look at Thanos. So we'll have some exciting stuff on the horizon. So hopefully you guys are staying tuned for those. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.